What is up, everyone? It's Gage here. Welcome to Soul Gathering Podcast. And today we got special guest Katie Shuman, who grew up with autism. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Gage. It's great to be here.
I we met at the Hops in the Forest, so I knew a little bit of your story, and it was just so profound and inspiring. Like you went through a lot, and it's just great to see where you are today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was great to meet you too at the hostel.
So what was your experience like getting diagnosed and kind of growing up with autism?
Well, I didn't know until I was almost 22. And up until that point, a lot of different parts of life just felt really hard. I remember just having a lot of social anxiety anytime I was separated from my mom when I was a kid. And so school was pretty rough at first. And I was selectively mute in school. And I would just basically not talk at all or very minimally in school for the first couple of years. But then, like, my mom would pick me up the same day I would not be talking at school, but then I'd be nonstop talking in the car because, like, I didn't talk at all for the day. So, like, I had to make up for it. And teachers are pretty concerned about me. I ended up getting held back in kindergarten because of that, just because of how I was doing socially. And so that was hard. I just had a lot of social anxiety growing up and just slowly learned how to blend in with other people more and just have the appearance of seeming more normal and, you know, knowing like more social skills than like some autistic people would. Just being able to mask a lot, and that ended up having a lot of negative consequences on my mental health long term. And so that's just a little brief story of like my childhood and like early adult years before I found out I was autistic.
Yeah, masking. It's unfortunate a lot of people with autism do because society doesn't really allow you to be yourself and to feel okay being that. There's fortunately there's a lot of bullying, and because society is built like, hey, that's weird. That's not what you're supposed to do, and it can be very hard to unmask because it's a process. How when did you kind of start like really being who you are, like being okay with that?
It's like you said, it's a process and it doesn't all happen overnight. And I could see really when I first learned that I was neurodivergent when I was almost 22 was when I just started seeing it. And like, up until that point, my just worldview had been very like closed minded and narrow and just limited. And like, I'd only known the things that like I was really taught to know growing up in like really conservative, like really Christian household. And it just opened my mind a lot more to like the ways that different people experience the world. And it was just so like mind blowing to me to like realize that there is a whole community of people and like all the terms to describe like all the things that like I go through like on the inside, like knowing that other people out there like me actually exist. And like, so that was like the starting point that kind of laid the groundwork for it. But then I just really started living even more authentically probably 2 years or so after that happened. Just a lot was going on in my life. My dad had passed away, and then I decided to end a almost 7 year relationship that I'd been in, and just kind of realizing that who I portrayed myself to be in that relationship wasn't like really my real self, but just like a person, like a mask that I portrayed. Not even a person; it was a mask. And once I really had the courage to let that go and to realize that it was so unhealthy for me, and like I could really, the first time I could really glimpse who I could be outside of it was when I just really decided like I need to leave. Like I'm going to like be miserable for the rest of my life if I don't leave. And so making that decision, and like that was really when I just started to grow up a lot as a person and realize a lot of things was like just in that space of like learning, of like beginning to like rebuild my life from the ground up after ending a relationship. And I was also when I like walked away from all of my religious beliefs. And so that's been almost 7 years now. So it's been a while.
I commend you for your strength for that. A lot of people would not want to do that because it's a very scary thing to, especially after a long-term relationship like that, it can be very difficult. So that's, it can be a lot, and I commend you for your strength. I'm glad to see you seem very vibrant. I met you at the house, so I could feel that.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Hmm. Yeah, all that can be difficult. So I'm like, that was just, it touched me. I I couldn't imagine doing that. It was very difficult. And
It's
I am
like,
sorry about your dad. It must have been difficult.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And like it is difficult, but ultimately, like you have to get to a point, and I remind myself this of like everything with like anything I'm struggling with that feels difficult. It's like, yeah, this feels difficult to do this thing in the moment that's going to lead to more growth and more happiness. But it's like, is it more difficult doing that, or is it more difficult staying exactly where you are?
It's yeah, that's exactly it. It's to a point where like it is scary. The unknown can be very scary, like especially like the relationship, like what's gonna happen. But like that what's more fearful is to know that you won't be happy and there is no growth in that relationship.
Yeah, you have
Um
to choose what you fear more in that moment.
and then that and look what's led you like you seem like I've seen your posts and you seem like you're doing really good.
Oh, thank you. It doesn't always feel like that, but the more good you can feel on the inside, the more peace you can have, no matter what's going on. Like that's a good place to be. You don't always feel peaceful. You don't always feel happy, but it gets easier to find out how to get there. As you
I
get
think
older
that's a
and as you
beautiful
keep
thing. Like
working on
everyone's
yourself.
like, I want to be happy, happy, happy. I'm like you're not always going to be happy. There's times where you're going to be sad, but it's beautiful to be sad. Like like I lost my cat like 4 months ago, and I
I'm
am
sorry to
grateful
hear
that I
that.
did feel sad because it showed how much I love them. And these feelings, we say, oh, that's bad, but sometimes it's good to feel that. Not let it to consume you, but just feel it and let it go.
Yeah, feel it, and it's like that's like kind of a way that I like that I understand this Bible verse. It's like be in the world, but not of the world. Like feel your emotions, but like don't let them overtake you, kind of a thing.
Exactly. And because like all of that's energy, and if you leave that feeling in, like you keep it there, you start feeling bad about feeling bad, and then that's to the point where it affects your whole state. It's why people stay, that's where depression comes in, because they hold to that feeling and from experiences, everything like that. And there's a point where you just gotta let it go. But the more you hold it in, the harder it is to let go.
And when you do let it go, it's like it can feel hard at first, but it's just you feel so free on the other side of that.
That's exactly it. And I had that experience. Back in pandemic, I was severely depressed. I wasn't even sure. Like I was taking day by day because I wasn't sure what tomorrow hold. So I fought that far. I just didn't want to keep going. And and I got to the point where I didn't really want to live anymore. And I thank God my brother was there because my best friend was already gone by then, and he was really the only person I could talk to. And my brother was there for me. He's like, you just gotta let it go. You gotta let go all this pain because it's killing you. And when I just like, I literally just, I think I dropped to the ground. It was later the next day. I dropped to the ground on my knees and I just started crying because I was just like letting everything go. All the pain that I went through growing up, being judged and hated, and just everything, like all the anger I had at people that I felt wrong with me, but they were just unaware of what was going on. And the teachers and everything like that, they were never the problem. It was the anger was at me for feeling that way because I felt so much pain and being felt that way. Felt felt alone for a long time, and I fought against that for a long time. So it was I felt free to let all that go.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that with me, and I commend you for, going through all of that, because it's like we all go through things that feel really painful at some point in our lives, but not all of us are going to choose to really grow through that and to become better from it. And it definitely looks like that's the choice you made, and can see that in like your state of being now. It's like, who are you even talking about? Like, you seem like a totally different guy, like the one I'm talking to now after telling me that story.
I appreciate that. Honestly, it's been the best years of my life. Like beforehand, it just seems like a blur. I'm like, I don't even recognize that person anymore.
Yeah.
It's like when you get through that, you feel like, whoa, what? Like, who am I anymore? Like, it's not even like a really bad saying, but it's like now I get to really discover who I am.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful to go through life and not even really recognize past versions of who you are, because it just shows how much you've grown and like how much you have become better in like most cases, and it's like not everybody chooses that.
No, no, it's you see a lot of people kind of accept who they are, and they're like, you got to grow up, do all this. I'm like, man, I'd rather not grow up if that's the case, man. You're not happy. Like most people that are doing like full-time jobs and jobs that they just despise just to survive. I'm like, that's not worth surviving. Now you got to work like two jobs because the economy, but like it wouldn't be worth it to me. That's not living, you know. And unfortunately, there's situations that come up, but you got to find a way to find your own peace. I don't like to say happiness anymore because that's like the perception is like always being happy. Like I think you should feel all feelings in a balanced way and to find that peace within yourself. Like even find the best in every situation.
Absolutely.
How was what was your what's your experience like at home, like growing up, like kind of just feeling different? Like, because autism, being autistic is just different. It's like being in a different world.
Yeah. Well, I was really, really socially anxious when I was growing up, and I had a very literal mind. Like, I remember one time I was at like the next door neighbor's party, and there were like a bunch of kids there or something, and like one of the moms walked up to me and like asked me if I was hungry or if I wanted another cookie or something like that. And at the moment, like, I wasn't hungry, so I said no. But then like a couple minutes later, I was thinking, wow, I like really want a cookie. And so then like I remember going back and getting one. And then like I would like just feel like so much shame, like, oh my God, like I lied to this woman because I thought that I wasn't hungry, but then, oh, I realized I am. So like I lied to her, and like I had legitimate guilt about that for like maybe like a whole week afterward. And like I was crying at home, and I was like telling my parents I lied, but I didn't tell them what I lied about, because like they always told me I shouldn't lie. And then so just funny stuff like that would happen to me. Um, and then like, I don't know, growing up, like I think I just felt really unstructured. Like I didn't know how to structure my time or really do anything outside of school. Like school was good because it was just like a forced like system routine that like you're gonna do because you're supposed to do it. And then like when I was home, like I'd have all these ideas for things that I really wanted to do, like different craft projects and like drawings and all kinds of stuff. But then I just didn't really know how to get started. And I didn't really have support for doing all that because, my parents were just busy doing their own things. And I didn't really know how to structure myself. And I think I was just really lethargic. And then, like, when I would be home, like, luckily, I would say I grew up in a pretty, like, good home overall. Like, there's just a lot of safety and security. And, like, I felt safe for them, like, in a lot of ways that basic ways that people like don't feel safe when they're growing up. Like I felt that around my parents. So it's like when I got home, it's like, okay, I'm exhausted from masking. And I'm also irritated and struggling with feeling like I don't fit in at school. So it's like I'm going to take out all this irritation and everything like on all the people I love, who I live with, who know me the best. And so that was something that I did when I was growing up. And I look back on that and I'm like, I'm not proud of it, but it's also that's all I knew at the time, and it's like I wasn't even actually conscious of like that's what I was doing in the moment, but
Mhm.
looking back on it, I can see that. And I started so that's like all my home experience. I feel like pretty much describes most of it from what I can think of as it comes to my mind.
You know, I still have this problem sometimes. Like when people offer me stuff, I get it's something from my childhood. Like I just have a hard time. Like, oh, I don't want to. I have anxiety about. It. I'm like, oh, I don't want to take something from them if I don't have something to give in return. And I have like, I always had that since I was a kid. I was always really shy about like when people offer me food and stuff like that. I would have like, I just get super anxious. I was like, no, I'm good, even though I was really hungry.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't know what that is, but it's cool. It's good that you recognize that.
Yeah, it's a work. It's always been a work in progress. I'm definitely a lot
Yeah.
better than I used to be, but oh, it would be funny though. Like once I got comfortable though, like I wouldn't hesitate, but like just those type of experiences, even overstimulation. Like the one thing I dread at family gatherings was a hug, and I'm like, no, I like it was just like felt super overwhelming, and it wasn't really like I didn't like was comfortable with them or anything. It was just a lot of stimulation from the like touching and everything like that.
Yeah. I get overstimulated around people pretty easily.
Yeah, it's not hard. That's why sometimes like I feel really good one day, like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go out, stuff like this. And then the next day I'm like, I don't want to be around anybody right now for a couple hours at least.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
that.
it's I can't get people are like, hey, you okay? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just doing my thing. I'm just taking a little break.
Rheumatism break.
uh, yeah, that is I'm not hopefully I'm getting better with it, but definitely a work in progress.
Oh, for me too. I mean, I take autism break like a lot. So I just call it autism break. I thought that's a funny name for it. But I feel like breaks and rest are important, and it keeps you from getting like really stuck in burnout.
Yeah. Yeah, burnout is not a fun place to be. It's almost like it's pretty like close to depression. Because I when I was working at the restaurants, I literally got back at a restaurant job. I've had it since before I moved to Florida. And I was working there for like probably like 3 months, 4 months, somewhere around that. And I left for like 2.5 weeks because I was visiting my family who I hadn't seen for like 2 years. And they said, yeah, Gage, you're all good. Actually, they're talking about giving me a promotion to cook, like to be like a slash dishwasher slash like cook. And I came back, they're like, yeah, man, actually, the day I was about to head into work, they're like, yeah, actually, we're going to move on from you. We're actually found someone to replace you, but you can reply in November. I was like, well, I literally jumped up, but I literally jumped up because I just woke up not long ago. And I was like, what the hell? Is this real? Because I just really couldn't comprehend it at the moment. I was like, well, this is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and I'm not shortly after that I had autism burnout. Like I was trying to move on quickly from the job, but it was just too much, and I just like I had a hard time even getting out of bed. It was just like I had no energy.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Like some days it feels like that. Just your biggest accomplishment or one of the biggest accomplishments is getting out of bed.
Yeah, yeah, just taking care of yourself. It's like back then that was like the biggest like accomplishment I could make at that moment because it was just hard getting out of it. And actually, the hospital. That's why I went to the hospital. I was there for like 2 months. And that's why I went there because I knew I needed like a new scenery, new change. I was like, okay, I need to go. I need to go for a couple months, kind of figure me out. Because there's a lot of things. I was even before like was let go. I was struggling with a lot of things because I didn't really know what my purpose was. What I felt like it was because autism was. I had a vision for that, but it wasn't clear, and I was kind of getting through doing the football podcast, and that was my passion was leaving me, and I was just like, what am I gonna do?
Do you
And it
feel like
wasn't until I had a super spiritual experience back at the hostel that I was there was this boys vocalization class, or it was like a little session going on, and I was something was telling me, Gage, don't go yet. Go to the hammock. And I laid in the hammock and I just felt it was nighttime and I was just looking at the stars, the bugs and creatures around, and I just closed my eyes and I just like everything I was going for the past like 2 years just came flooding in. And I just started crying because it's like I felt like I was pulling a rope with a big boulder on my back and all I had to do is just let go. Just let it go. And then I had a vision that it was that I was holding hands with a lot like beautiful people of autism, and they were able to come to me and for just to be there, just for a year or two, just for someone to listen to them. And I just started crying because I was like, that's really what I want, to help people not to suffer like I have, to not get to the point where life is a question to even be continued. I want them to see the beauty in life. Like I have after that experience, really letting things go. The lights of the world really came together again for the first time in my life since I was a kid. And I want people to experience that if I can help it, especially in our community. A lot of us are suffering from depression or a lot of things like that. So I want to make sure they don't get to that dark hole. If I can help them get there, then that would be the greatest accomplishment in my life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I absolutely resonate with everything you said, and, that's my goal too, like, it's a similar goal with, like, all the things that I'm doing is just to, support neurodivergent people, and I think it's like I feel this way, and I feel like everyone can take this perspective. They can just, like, focus on all the things that they have and, like, think about the advantages they have because we all have disadvantages, but we also all have some advantages, and, like, really think about that and start focusing on that, focusing on gratitude and not just thinking that, like, you're a victim to life, because that's not gonna get you very far, and
No,
that is something that I see a lot in the neurodivergent community online that I think really needs to change, and so I am so supportive of and, like, I, like, just wanna amplify and talk about it as much as I can and, connect to other people who hold the same values. It's like autism, neurodiversity, other types of neurodivergence, like, it doesn't all have to be a tragedy narrative. There are things about it that are hard. There's, like, a lot that still needs to be done in society to support neurodivergent people, to bring awareness, but it's like we just have to stop with the tragedy narrative, and that starts with us and really showing the world, like, that we can, like, live the kind of lives that we wanna live. It shows other people like us that, like, they can overcome the things that have held them back too, and, so that's what I'm passionate about.
it's beautiful. It's people like us, and I've seen a lot of leaders come in from diverse. My tongue's spinning. Like I have a hard time like pronouncing it, but with the autism community and all those
Yeah,
communities that are struggling, I see the leaders coming up, and it's amazing, and that's what we need, if all of us come together, because society is built on judgment. Like, oh yeah, these guys need like extra help, and it's like you don't see the positives. You don't see the positives. Like like this person could be, I mean, like amazing at art, like painting, and it just comes easy to them. But you notice the struggles they have, and you
yeah,
see it overshadow it. And it shouldn't be that. You should see their gifts and want to help them up that, And a lot of society judges that, and it really should be like, man, they have a gift, and they might need a little extra help on some sides, but let's help their strength because that's really is going to come together. And people with divergent community should be celebrated.
yeah, that's exactly how it should be. I think we're gonna see more and more of that as, time goes on. I like seeing how there's more and more companies who are seeing the value that autistic people provide, um, because, you know, Not everyone's going to do super well in a traditional job interview, but that same person probably has incredible skills that a lot of people in that company could really benefit from, and more employers are seeing that, and it just makes me excited. It gives me a lot of hope for the future.
It's the future's looking bright. I've been calling it the new world. It really is getting better, and I see that. And everything's coming together. People with autism, they can they have a lot more opportunities, and a lot of them are getting more awareness and more acceptance. And that's so beautiful to see. It's a lot different than when I was a kid. It's changed. In such a short time.
Yeah, I really think that technology is the more, there, of course, there's always advantages and disadvantages to technology becoming more widespread, but just me personally, I can think of so many different ways that technology has benefited my life, from just making friends. Like, I make friends and stuff basically through apps. Like, that's how I've met like most of my friends. It's all through the internet pretty much. And all the work opportunities I've gotten, clients for pet sitting, all through the internet. My job is on the internet. I'm working on like creating a business that is like just entirely run through the internet. Like, how amazing is it that we get to do these things in this world today?
It is, and a lot of people have been kind of on the negative side of AI, but I think it's actually going to help a lot of things.
Oh,
Let's be honest, like the human, like if AI is only going to do the betterment of the earth, and obviously the human side have not been doing that. There's a lot of things that have not been very good. So I think AI is actually going to produce a lot of great things, and people with autism and have those gifts, they're going to be very valuable in the new world.
I totally agree. I think I choose to just see that things are getting better. And, I hope, and I think that, with more awareness and with more autistic people just getting out there and sharing their story, and it's going to do some good things. And it's already been doing some good things. It's like, I can't wait to see how, like, the generation of younger neurodivergent kids, the majority of them are getting more of the support and things that I never got, that you probably never got either when you were a
Yeah.
kid. And it just makes me so happy to see like where things are going to go in the next 10 to 15 years, even sooner.
Going to be beautiful, and I had it's a bit of a bold prediction, but I think it's really going to ramp up in the next 5 years.
Yep.
And I think it's coming so fast. I think we're going to see a lot of big changes within the 5 years.
I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for sharing your story and coming on today. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. It was great to be on here and talk about autism and neurodivergence with another neurodivergent adult who cares about, making the world better for autistic people and all neurodivergent people.
Yeah, you're working on a lot of things, and you're doing some remote jobs too. Doing some traveling.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I might kind of spend some
oh,
time.
did you have anything you were going to ask?
Oh no, I was gonna ask more about your job. Like
Yeah.
you keep. Yeah, you probably would explain better than I can.
Yeah, yeah, if this part of the podcast is still being recorded, would definitely be a great I'm losing my ability to talk right now. A great resource for neurodivergent adults who are looking for ways to make money online. My job title is I'm a search engine evaluator, and that's also internet radar. It's basically the same thing. And there are companies, we think the best way, I would say, just type in search engine evaluator jobs on Google and you'll learn more about it. But you can work anywhere you want in the United States. They have some job types, in different languages, where like you can only work in the certain country that you are. But I guess they hire in different countries, but they most often hire in the US. And it's rating all kinds of internet content. You are looking at websites and rating the quality of them, certain pages on websites. You're rating to see what sets of search results are most helpful based on someone else's anonymous internet query. And so, like, my company and other companies out there that you can work for, their clients are like Google, YouTube, Yahoo, Bing, all the big search engine companies. And so this is a great way to make money working anywhere, and pay is different for all companies. I currently earn like 14 an hour to do that, but I work anytime I want, anywhere I want in the United States. And I say, at least I think, and I think most people would agree, that that's a lot better than working somewhere like Walmart or something for like the same
Yes,
amount of pay
yeah,
starting out.
100%.
And you can also like do that job with other things. Like you can listen to podcasts and stuff and just chill and do whatever you want while you're doing that job. So it's pretty cool. I've never had to actually speak to a single person in like the nearly 8 years that I've had this. And I will say it's not a good like replace your job totally. And like that's why I have multiple side hustles. Um, but it's a good substantial source of income if you are wanting to make money online. I highly recommend it. So if you just type in a search engine evaluator jobs and like how to get them, you'll find information about that.
I think that's going to be. I think that's a great job. You know, it's especially if you want to travel and you still got to figure out your financial situation. That's going to be a great job to have.
Oh, it's great because it's going to enable me to quit doing a lot of my pet sitting at a certain point, because I will still have the income from this job as long as I need it, and like I can take that anywhere with me. So it's just good to be able to have that.
It is, and yes, thanks for sharing. You know, it's going to be great. It's a great opportunity for many people that are autistic, especially that have a really hard time, you know, working with people in person. So I think it's just a great opportunity.
Yeah, like because I kind of just obsessed over all this kind of stuff, like finding alternative ways to make money. And like, I think I want to write more about this on my blog and just spread that awareness to neurodivergent adults so like they can really see more of what's possible for them.
I think that'd be great. Luckily, the more those jobs are coming through, it makes it a lot easier for people that are in the divergent community to work, you know, because it can be very difficult, like, because there's a lot of anxiety and stress that comes with, like, working with people and dealing with all of that.
Yes.
And thank you again for coming on. I wanted to share that because I think that would help. I think that would be a great opportunity for many people.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I love sharing that resource with other neurodivergent adults. So it was great to come on today.
Yes, thank you, and thank you guys for watching, and much love to you all.
Bye.